welcome to my channel. I'm Honey. You can also call me April. I do answer to both. Both are actually my name. I know I get asked this once in a while. They are both my name. My name is April and it's also Honey. So I do answer to both. And I wanted to talk to you guys today about a question that I get asked a lot, but it seems to be a question that makes people very uncomfortable, very understandably so. And that is, what is wrong with me? Why am I in a wheelchair? And I understand why this question makes people uncomfortable because a lot of people don't want to answer it. I'm going to be honest, very often in the disabled community, there's a lot of exhaustion and negativity surrounding this question because it's sometimes asked in a way where we feel like we have to justify our disability. And sometimes I get asked it in the context of like, well, you don't look like anything's wrong with you. You look fine. So therefore, what's wrong with you? That doesn't necessarily make me mad. And I do understand why people are like that because I look fine. If you look at me from here up, I look fine. But the fact is that looking fine doesn't mean that I can move my feet or even feel them. You know, it doesn't mean that anything is going to happen below my knees. It just means that I look okay. I look like I'm just sitting down, and that's totally cool. But what is wrong with me? I have Charcot-Marie tooth disease, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and POTS syndrome, which is polyorthostatic tachycardia syndrome, which is just a fancy way of saying I have dysautonomia. It means that my blood pressure can't hold itself together. So when I stand up, blood doesn't necessarily continue. Like when you stand up, your blood pressure is supposed to stay static and your heart rate either raises or lowers to compensate so that your blood pressure stays static. That does not happen for me. So if I stand up, I get dizzy and nauseous and feel like I'm going to faint. I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which means that my joints are hypermobile. It means that my elbows kind of hyperextend. It means that all of my joints are a little bit looser. My knees can curve backwards. And I have an excess of relaxin in my joints, which was great for childbirth, and I did have a lot of kids, so that was helpful. But it does mean that I'm prone to injuries. I can fall, I can dislocate things very easily. That's pretty much it for that. I also have CMT, and CMT is the reason I'm in the wheelchair. CMT is a hereditary motor and sensory neuropathy. It is a rare genetic disease and it affects 1 in 2,500 people, and it can affect people differently. So there can be someone who has CMT and all they need is leg braces and they can still walk and they're still fine. They just might have a little bit of foot drop. Maybe it doesn't affect them until they're already elderly. And then there's people like me where it happens to hit us pretty severely and it's very progressive and degenerative, and we have to constantly find ways to work around the new loss of function because that's just a way of life for us. Now, for me, that means it affects me from like here all the way down on my hands, and it affects my legs from about my upper mid thigh all the way down. Now, at my last EMG, that meant that there was no signal from like my hands and my wrists to my brain at all. So CMT, the type that I have, it affects the myelin sheath that sends signals to your brain. Mine's broken down, it doesn't work. I can move, like I can at least close. I can't necessarily open. So if I manually open my hands, I can close them. You know what I mean? So like I have function in one direction and not the other, which was the same with my feet at first. I was able to like push down, but I wasn't able to pull them up. So I didn't have any flexion. I had dorsiflexion. So it was just the way it is and the way it progresses. Eventually you do lose all of that. But for now, I'm enjoying what I have while I can. I did learn that the more you use it, the better off you are. So I do use as much of my function as humanly possible. But that is what's wrong with me personally, and why I'm in a wheelchair, and what my journey is, and what I'm working with, and what I'm dealing with. So as this channel progresses, there will be progression in my condition, because that's just the way it is. My muscles that are working are basically functioning on muscle memory. That doesn't last forever. Although in CMT patients, it seems like we can go years between the point of our nerves dying and the actual loss of function. So we lose feeling before we lose function. We lose sensation before we lose function. So I can't feel my hands and I can't feel my feet, but I can still kind of move my hands. I can't move my feet, but I can still move my hands. I get told a lot that I don't look like there's anything wrong with me. I don't know what that means, but I'm guessing it means that I just look like I'm sitting down, which is fine because I am just sitting down. The other question I get asked is, how do I draw and how do I play video games? So I draw with an Apple Pencil and an iPad, and when I open a screen, I kind of use both of my hands, like to pinch and to close. I use both my hands for that. And then I just shove the pencil in my hand and I draw like that, like with so my hand is resting on the tablet. I don't have to like lift or anything. And I use my arm. This part of my arm is mostly what is working. So I don't do a lot of wrist or fine movements. I don't ever change my grip. So I'm not one of those people who can change to do like an underhanded grip and a top stroke. I'm never going to be one of those kinds of people. So I can hold a pencil one way and I can draw just like that, and that is it. I can't do anything more complicated than that. I can't do it like this because there's only so long I can hold my arm up, and I can't control it so well when I do that because my elbows are kind of weird and my wrists don't function as well. Like I can turn them, but I can't, like, I don't know, I can't lift and bend my hands so well. Like that doesn't work as well. So yeah, so I do that. And then when I play video games, I shove the Joy-Cons in my hands to make them accessible to me. I can do this and I can hold them. And if I shove them in my hands, I do play like at my desk. So I can use my desk to kind of help me, or my other hand. Like when I need to button mash, I kind of just do it on my elbows, if that makes any sense. But yeah, so that's kind of how I make it accessible to me. I can't play with the Joy-Cons in the console because then it becomes too heavy for my actual hands and I can't hold it all. I do have to detach it in order to play. I also do have a Switch Lite, and I have a curved thing around the back of it, and it is a little lighter, so I can play on that. At first, I couldn't play on this at all. I tried every kind of like gripper and item to put on it, and what I found that worked for me the best was just to compensate with my own function, and it helps me to do things that I love and connect with people that I enjoy. So that is it for me and how I make all of my life accessible to me, or actually my hobbies accessible to me. I'll get into how I make my life accessible to me in another video. But hopefully you enjoyed this. I enjoy talking to you, and I know you could be doing absolutely anything in the world. You choose to spend a little bit of your time here with me. I appreciate you so much for that. And I hope everyone's having a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.